who's Coloseo.
Coloseo. I mean, yeah, this is the way I would describe like the Winston versus Diva matchup in like the dive mirror. Is essentially you're playing. I mean, this is my take anyway. I think maybe people just haven't given Diva a fair shake, but people think Winston is better in the dive mirror. They just think that he does more. The bubble is better for his team to fight around. It's easier to punish and control the enemy's Sojourn than it is with the Diva. Your ultimate is like 1 trillion times better because the Diva bomb is worthless, and also when you go baby Diva, you're always like you should just like instantly die. It's just worse. So the problem though is obviously that Diva as a hero counters Winston really, really well.
Yeah.
So like let's put it this way: it might feel bad for you, but it's going to feel good for the rest of your team. And as long as you can play smart and play to avoid trading with Diva specifically as much as you can, then you're probably going to be doing just fine. And worst case scenario, maybe it doesn't feel amazing, but you guys should be winning the ult trades pretty heavily. Primal is just infinitely better than Bomb. So what I would say is that it might be the way that you're playing it, that you guys are kind of like trading too much with like the enemy tank just because you're used to doing it in the mirror, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're on Diva, this is not working so well. You guys might actually need to be playing like more like staging, more aggression on Sojourn, force that Diva to use her boosters, maybe try and force her boosters on an off angle with your Sojourn, and then that's your window for you to dive their Sojourn, right? Because you know the Diva can't punish. I would try to find a simple solution to that problem while keeping in mind that you guys have the absolute, as far as I know, advantage in when it comes to how aggressive your Sojourn can play, the old economy, things like that. I mean, even things like, for example, if you dive as Winston onto their Sojourn, your Kiri can TP on top of you and follow the dive. Because if the Diva tries to counter dive into a Winston bubble, she's not going to be able to punish your Kiriko.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. Now, if you're playing into a Winston mirror, he can counter dive, he can place down his bubble and just zap right through it and guarantee force Suzu every single time, if not kill the Kiriko. But Divas can't do that. So it's like, even that like adjustment alone raises some questions about how good the Diva is. But I will say that if you're just trading front lines, you know, playing like careful and slow, then yeah, the Diva's gonna make at least your life as a Winston player miserable. So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And if you have a code,
one problem,
we can look at it.
Yeah, I do have the code.
Okay.
But one problem was that like we had like a ringer for our hit scan, so our Sojourn was interesting. So they were getting like hard countered by the Diva.
Really?
Which I don't know how.
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting.
They take like negative off angles. They're the frontline Sojourn. Maybe that was just the problem. It probably was.
That's probably it. Because if you think about it, if I'm taking an off angle as a Sojourn, generally Diva is pretty good at controlling that. But when you compare that to a Winston, not as good. No, not as good. Diva is just not a kill threat at all. Anyway.
I don't know. Well, they apparently they had a Mercy, so it was like a Mercy pocketed Sojourn. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that might be problematic by a Diva because now you got 2 resources and the Mercy pocket's probably not. Yeah. Okay. Well, shoot me the code. Well, first off, are there anything else that you want to go over before we like actually hop into the gameplay?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's do this.
All right. There's the code.
Right out.
Yeah, this was like a couple weeks ago, though.
Okay. So maybe this is more of like a general, like philosophical way of approaching this matchup. And then for like specific stuff that you need to work on, if you have another code, we'll have time to look at that as well. GM Winston.
Yeah, because we had like 2 ringers here, so
yeah. I think like I can like look at this and I can imagine like first fight being pretty hard, just based off of the architecture of the map. I won't comment on that because I hate it.
The glass.
Yeah. No comment. But yeah, it's just there isn't any good angle. Like it's really going to be really hard for you to avoid Diva. But as the map opens up, we should be doing work. And honestly, like their comp doesn't even like make It doesn't even, I wouldn't say, it doesn't surprise me, right? Like if, for example, you look at their comp, why, like you need Diva. You need Diva because if you don't like hard mark you, or like hard mark your tracer, like counter diving is worthless. You need to be like heart protecting your soldier mercy by marking. So for you, it's like, this isn't even anything remotely the dive mirror, really. It's just like you trying to dive without jumping into a brick wall. And then trying to avoid the Diva as much as you can. Like, I don't even know what this Diva is doing. What is this Diva doing?
These guys were, when we were scrimming, they would like instantly switch to counter comp.
Yeah.
Like they would instantly switch to like Reaper Bastion the entire scrim.
I mean, that's really boring, but like you're getting practice on what you want to get practice on. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie.
Yeah.
So like you play what you want, they play what they don't want. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, you can kind of see it right there. Your tracer baits Diva to go mark, and then that completely opens up the dive, and you just walk on top of them. Especially on this map, their comp is just garbage.
Yeah.
And Reaper's just a less mobile Diva. You know, avoid the Reaper, avoid the Diva, and then you're good to go. See, like even this here, like max value, right? Like maximum value. Like you're jumping away from Diva so that she has to use boosters. Reaper has to either wraith in or just do nothing and walk in. And again, we kind of bring up like, I don't want to go overly detailed into the your team's responsibilities beside you. But again, this is the situation where your Kiriko could absolutely TP in with you and get away with it. I mean, this is just, they're cooked, right? There's just so much value from that jump. Free push. This is silly. What this jump, well, you tell me what this jump did. You see? Like let's just go back to right before the jump. Look at the cart, look at their positions, look at your team. All right? So there's Sojourn, Kiriko, look at their position, and then tell me what this did.
Their Diva is forced to peel, and the Reaper is forced to peel, so they like lose all their off angles.
Right, they lose all their off angles, which allows you guys to do what?
To take the off angles and push more.
Yes, exactly. So you theoretically you don't get a ton of off angles from this because I mean your tracer does get a slightly better position, like she can sit here a little bit more comfortably, but ultimately it's still the high ground and you guys are still on the floor. But because the off angles and even like the high ground from the Sojourn wasn't a factor, you pushed the robot 10 meters for free. And you traded cooldown. It wasn't just like, oh, we use cooldowns and we got cart push. You use cooldowns, you got cooldowns, and you push cart for free. So, I mean, that's a positive trade right there. My problem here is that, like, this jump here, the jump doesn't get punished. It should have been. Like, if this team's smart, they just drop on you right now because you don't have bubble. Like, literally just 3, 2, 1 drop this guy. But the problem here is as well is that, like, your Sojourn just kind of, like, trolling the lobby. Like, we need to be, we're calling, like, guys, we're just pushing. Like, there's no reason for you guys to be doing anything because, like, once the robot's in here, their off angles don't even really matter right now. You know what I'm saying? You only need to contest their space once their space is actually dangerous, and their space is actually only dangerous when they're out in open space. The robot's underneath. You guys just needed to group up, 3, 2, 1, walk out. Then when the robot gets to here, then we need to contest the high ground so that we can get capped. You know? And at that point, you've got primal. So, like, to me, this has really nothing to do with the... Oh, you forced Valk. That's good. This had nothing to do with the Diva. Just you guys just didn't know what you guys were doing with the objective. That's all. Makes sense. I will say, and it didn't get punished, though. Your team trolled the lobby, and that's why you lost. But this jump here from you without bubble, on top of the Diva, right? On top of the Reaper, you're smoking crap.
I think we're just probably just trying to get some poke, but that's kind of
it's dumb, right? Their comp is just infinitely better at that tempo, right? Yours is very powerful and then very weak. Don't play when you're weak. Play when you're strong. Their comp is never weak. They're not cooldown reliant. They're constantly pressuring you, right? If it was like a Winston mirror, you know, maybe, but like even then, probably not optimal. Their comp, they just don't care about cooldowns. They just always have their cooldowns, you know.
So maybe Bell, but I feel like that's
just Bell, right. But obviously, like that's to punish the lack of Bell, you still need your bubble. Like this is what we hate. You know, you guys have to make a decision right now. What's the decision as a team? Well, we'll focus on what you're doing wrong here, but obviously, like the first thing is like, what did we want to do as a team right here?
Probably just dive the Sojourn and then force the Mercy and then probably kill Mercy.
Or Think about the objective. Do we fight now?
Probably not.
Okay, or do we... What?
I feel like we fight when like the car is like to like the
Sure.
Is that a bus?
Sure. Yeah. Or whatever, the van, whatever. I think it's a van. Yeah. So you either fight now, or you let them get to here, and then you fight when you have a big high ground advantage. What's the advantage of fighting now?
There's like, what's it called? There's like pillars to like kite around.
Sure. I also think you guys get a recontest as well before you lose.
No, yeah, that's true.
That being said, I do think that if you let them push it to here, you guys have a much higher chance of actually winning the fight. So that's that's classic Overwatch, right? Do we play for the W, or do we play for 2 chances at the W? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't really care. I mean, you guys have your primal now. If y'all want to go right now, that's totally fine. But the problem here is what? If this is the plan, what's the problem?
I'm not really, like, I'm by myself. Our Sojourn is shooting at a wall.
This is it, you know?
Yeah, our Kiri's can't TP to me.
Right, so we're just not fighting as a team, right? So this is a team scrim. If this is the plan, we need to press W here, okay? Now, let's look at it from your point of view. What's the problem? If this is the plan, ignore your backline crapping the bed right here. I'm going to cut you some slack and assume that you did call that we're pushing here. So I hope that's what would happen. But then what's the problem from your end right here?
There's a Diva in my face.
Right, so your initial staging needs to be completely about avoiding this Diva. So if you're here, I'm not even saying necessarily that this position is bad, but what do you need to do right now at this exact second?
Go to the right.
Right, go to the right, jump through the pillars, and immediately onto backline through here. You can bait the Diva to match you, and then before she does any significant damage, jump away from her on the opposite side of the map. Now she can pursue, but you make her use boosters to pursue, and also as you know, your jump goes further than boosters by a little bit, so you can actually make her reach. You know, so for example, so you go to the right, you would take basically no damage. You jump onto Kiri, you jump onto Mercy, Sojourn, whatever. Even if you don't land on them, you kind of like off-angle and bait them. You create so much space here. Right? You force so much attention. You can maybe even play the cover here. You probably force TP and or Bell. You force the Sojourn to look at you and slide this way. And then all of a sudden now you have a free primal. And the best part about it would be as well as if this Diva and Reaper pursue you over here, the backline migrates this way. Your primal, you're going to not only be able to pursue the targets, but you're also going to have the people that would burn you in primal completely out of position.
Yeah.
You kind of see what I'm saying? So this is a really good thing with Winston. When you have primals, you basically bait your counters to pursue you in one location and then just leave them behind. So it's going to be, this in itself is a mistake as a team, but this in itself isn't a mistake from you, depending on what happens in the next 0.5 seconds. Because if you stay here, you're going to lose HP, you're going to lose armor, you're going to get your bubble forced, or you're going to get your primal forced early. And any one of those things is a problem. And that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Your armor's now gone. This is what makes Winston hard, right? So this jump is like very, very reasonable, but just way too late. Way too late.
Yeah.
And again, from your team's perspective, which I know they're not the one getting VOD review, but something to consider with your team is like when you want to go, these guys need to be going. I don't even care if it's a mirror. This is still unacceptable from them. Should not be playing this slow. Has nothing really to do with the compositional mirror. And there's the pursuit. The unfortunate thing is because you don't really manage your HP well. You're at 239 right now. You should be like, I don't really care. I'm at like 450 right here, and I'm just gonna shoot this Sojourn or shoot this Kiriko. You should be chilling here and just shooting this Sojourn, right? And then last second pop primal. But you didn't do that, right? You mismanaged your HP, so you have to pop primal early. And the problem with popping primal early is, do you see that these guys have not pursued, right? So then by doing this primal here, you're actually going into your counters, and your HP is cooked. I will say as well, even if you're fearless, this is not the target. Especially when she goes here. If you can't, and she bounces here, Sojourn, number one priority. Priority. It's because you're like, oh, she's low, but then as soon as she does that bounce up to here, she's just not killable. Unless you're gonna like lock on her, it's just not gonna happen. So like right here, you're being what I would call vague. You don't know what you're going for right now. You need to know what you're going for. Even if it's just bullying the Sojourn out, because guess what happens? Most killable target, right? But also, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's on you. That's on you. You would have lost less HP and had a higher chance of getting a kill and kept your Sojourn alive if you'd actually prioritized the Sojourn. Instead of just like general AoE smashing and bashing and just kind of generally looking at the enemy team. Oh no. No, we used it. Because I was going to say, we actually might get a recontest here before they get leads. But,
yeah.
Disaster. Okay. The ball is kind of funny. I mean, I can see it being a fine. It's counterpicking the Diva Reaper.
Yeah.
I think it could work. Do you want to look at your ball or do you want to move on?
I mean, we could. My ball's kind of washed. I don't really play ball that much anymore.
Well, then I wouldn't worry about your ball. Let's make this useful. So, do you have another code for me? Ranked code, scrum code, or something else that you want to go over?
Yeah, I got a ranked code.
Okay.
I play like ball on it for like one fight because it's Havana, and then I'm like, no, my ball is washed. Yeah, I play ball for like a fight and Ryan for like 2 fights because they were holding close.
All right, fair enough.
But it's mostly monkey.
Righto. Does all that make sense with what we were speaking about earlier, like the matchup?
Yeah,
the responsibility. The taking damage, HP, locking down a specific target. Those things are definitely applicable, like broadly across the board. But we obviously won't that because, especially because that's an older VOD, we won't like flip out, you know. Winston on Havana. You're a madman.
Yes.
I mean, this point is probably...
I like Winston on second point.
Yeah, I was going to say, this point is actually probably... Winston's probably one of the best tanks on second point, I think.
Yeah.
Nice use of your right click. Oh, that's
the bubble,
so tragic.
the big bubble.
No!
How'd you even go there?
I mean, honestly, it's not just that. It's also like the Winston kick. You literally have to treat it like... Or the Zenyatta kick, excuse me. You have to treat it literally like Lucio boop. Like, I actually think you need to be bubbling this now, even though you've taken no damage because of the Zen kick. That's hilarious. I mean, it's still decent, you know. You're still clearing that space off. Like, if the end result was the same. Symmetra drop, Zenyatta drop, you know. It's whatever. The idea was good. Timing was good. Yep. I want to watch this combo again. I think he did a pretty darn good job. Yeah.
A little late on a melee.
Yeah. I'm also a resident melee hater unless you got like a clean combo. Because it just like, I think about like all the zapping that you could have been doing here. But if you can land it, it's good. If you can't, it's bad. I mean, this is all fine, right? You know? Play to live, play to live, play to live. I mean, yeah, this feels amazing. Nice.
Depressing. I don't get any of the trans.
I'm gonna be real. You played fine. Really, truly, you played fine. I think you did a good job controlling high grounds. Your combos were a little clunky, but you definitely are like aiming for the right things. Your target priority was good. Your bubble usage was good. The only thing I might say is like the Zenyatta kick. It's like you got to play around that one legitimately now.
Yeah.
Like you treat it like a Lucio boop or like a Brig. It's not quite as bad as like a Brig whip shot, but it is like something you have to consider. But honestly, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. You got a little bit unlucky, and even though you got a little bit unlucky, you die, but you guys still win the fight. So it's like, you know, you did your job, you know.
Yeah.
There's going to be other things to worry about besides tiny little details that we saw there. This is where you, this is a little like the Diva Reaper jumping with no bubble foolishness. You're like, I'm a poke, you know. Please be careful. like just one sticky from this, and you're like a 1/5 orb, and you're like, oh, you know, I gotta give up the space, you know. It's like. don't know. Just be careful. Like, just be really, really, really careful about like how much you're peeking in these situations. Because also, like, if I don't turn my screen around, where's the line for you guys? Where are you drawing the line? Where are you staging from?
It's like on like the bridge.
Right. So it's like you can look at it here. Like this is kind of like the line here. So you're gonna dive here. You're gonna dive here. Right. There's nothing over here that you need to see.
Yeah.
So if once you're here and you've scouted, okay, they're rolling out here. That's all you really need to see. The other thing too is you can't even stage from here. You know you can't. It's not gonna work. They're gonna poke you out immediately. So like you from here need to be thinking, okay, so where do I need to go? Which is where?
Probably just on their Zen, like where he is right now.
Sure. Do you stage here? Is this the best position for you to be, like here? Like boiler?
Probably not, because I can't really see anything.
Right, so then where would you go?
I feel like they're on like the silo, on like the back of the silo might be good.
Like...
Or like by the boxes.
Like where?
Like on, right? Like on top. On top of like those things.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
like,
jumping,
like more like on the right one.
But like jumping, like starting here and then you hear them and then you jump up and over and then drop.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah. You can't stay here.
Yeah.
But you can listen and look for an opportunity. I was also wondering, like, I wonder if you could like go like under here and listen.
Yeah.
And flank around behind here. I feel like if you get the timing right with this might even be a really good staging opportunity as well.
And you can also jump between the two.
Oh, you can.
Like under, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize this gap was so big. Yeah, I mean, this is, but as long as they're Ryan's on high, which, you know, he's gonna be, right? He's trying to clear high ground. Then you can just kind of go underneath and dodge him and then go for this here. Yeah, all I'm saying is like don't be lazy with your staging. Even if it saves you 40 armor, you know, it's worth, you know, because like this is just like, no.
Yeah.
Because like, this is why I didn't want to pick on you last fight, because I honestly thought you did a really good job. This is what we have to focus on. This is trolling, because nobody cares. Look at your team. What do they have to do? Shoot a Rhine shield? Like there's nothing happening, right? Like this is just you have the most powerful cooldown in the entire server right now, and you just used it like that. Like, come on, let them out. You know what I'm saying? Like we could do our thing that you were saying, like. Do the up and over jump. You could do your idea through here. You could do my idea from back. But like, for crying out loud, let them come out first. Because now see this Ryan's smart, right? This Ryan can either just sit and wait, or he's gonna pin back and punish.
Yeah.
And even though he doesn't get the punish, you've essentially traded Winston bubble for 300 Ryan shield. Garbage. And the problem is that you're probably doing this because you're like, oh, I've got primal, maybe. But it doesn't matter. You want your kit. You want be greedy. You know what I'm saying? I want a perfect bubble, and I want primal. I'm gonna guarantee carry this fight. Because like even this, like honestly, not great.
This was so weird.
What? I didn't know this was a thing. Okay, well maybe this works because Echo takes TP. I don't know. Maybe, but yeah, this is funny.
It works out.
Well, it works out because the Echo's actually in. You know what I'm saying? Like the Ryan's actually pushing and the Echo's actually in, so of course it actually works. But yeah, this is your timing there. Do you understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the line?
Yeah.
Like when your team is ready to commit with you, or the enemy team is committing into your space, that's when you pull the trigger. You pulled the trigger when they were still like behind the corner, right? You completely wasted your cooldown 5v1 doing nothing with it. But yeah, this is perfect. Nice, done. Easy peasy.
Almost feeds.
Without knowing status of, I just sort of popped a right click here, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's the slightly safer play. And also, did she use sleep? Did you see her use sleep?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. No.
No, I don't think you did. So this is a gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of those 50-50 moves, you know what I'm saying? Whereas as you get better, it's gonna be like a 40-60 move, and I don't want to be a 40-60 move.
Yeah.
This is fine. Bingo. That kind of bubble is like, there's no point not to, you know. Fight's won.
Yeah.
Just get some cleave, you know. Kill me. Please. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
I was getting old charge. I was getting old charge.
Yeah, getting or giving?
Both.
Worst trade deal in the history of trade deals. Yeah, this is pretty juicy. My one complaint with this is I feel like this is just a really brain dead dragon from your Hanzo, because it's like, again, like he's breaking the line, right? The line for you guys is here, here, or here. Why are we dragoning?
Yeah.
Let the Ryan walk out of the choke so that we can actually be doing something while the dragon is splitting. Because like this dragon could cause like the greatest split and get everybody 1 HP, but what are you guys gonna do about it? So like I respect you pushing with the dragon, but if this dragon wasn't here, I would be flaming you. You know what I'm saying? Where you would be, this angle is great, but just wait for them to walk out and then creep up behind them. You know what I'm saying? Wait for that Reinhardt to make that Reinhardt get isolated. You know, this is like the second time where I'm having a little bit of concerns about the line, and you can see it, right? Anytime the Ryan can pin back on you and get away with it, that should be a red flag. If Reinhardt walks out here and he's like, oh shoot, my team is getting dove, and he pins backwards, he dies.
Yeah.
Right? Or your backline just butchers the enemy backline. Anytime that they could turn 5-man focus you, that's always a red flag that you're doing something wrong. Again, I'm not really flaming you for this one because you're trying to follow up off of the dragon, but just food for thought. I mean, and that's ultimately the problem, right? Because, I mean, it ends up not necessarily being your fault, but like now you're running away and screaming for heal support while their entire team is just like W King with zero pressure from you at all. You know?
Yeah.
So again, it's not your fault you tried to follow up on the dragon, but honestly, there's a good argument for just letting the dragon be wasted almost at that point. And making sure that you're there for when the Rhine actually presses W so that you can zone backline. Because ultimately you see that like even though you're trying to follow up, it doesn't get the kill. It doesn't do anything outside of force it really, really bad nano, and then you get run over once the Rhine actually takes space.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it bad that I don't comment ranked, or is it really not matter that much? Okay.
It's fine. Use your eyeballs. Use your eyeballs. No, I mean, seriously, nothing about this demanded you using voice chat. Just using your eyeballs. Using your eyeballs and seeing, where's my team set up? Okay, we're set up here, so then where are we going to fight? Well, we're going to fight either here, or here, or here, or we're going to fight here, right? This is why there's no kill box, because it could be many places, right? So then you look at your team, look at the enemy team, and then decide when is a good time for me to take space or control space. Now is not the time. Again, maybe because of Dragon, it's more complicated than that, but you tell me when. Optimally, when would you have engaged as Winston?
Probably when the Ryan's like outside of the door.
Now?
No, like when he's like, I mean, yeah.
Like now?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably right about now. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I think your Echo full sticky's your soldier. Maybe that's just kind of unavoidable. But I do think like the Zen kill on your Hanzo was avoidable. Now would have been like 2 seconds ago would have been a great time. Like you said, not when the Reinhardt's like here, you know, but once he actually like commits out to here and they start peeking through this door, that's a good time to go. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So you understand, you just need to do it. And no, you don't need voice comms to do that. You need eyeballs. I mean, really, truly,
I have bad eyeballs.
Well, that was one of the best things that I ever did was when I climbed the Grandmaster and like support. I don't miss a Nano Blade, you know, I don't miss a Tracer duel as Zenyatta, because I was like, I had to be so attentive to what was going on around me because I couldn't hear anything. There was no calls, right? So that actually helped me immensely because it forced me to actually pay attention to what was going on. And even in a scrim environment, you need that. You need that habit. Because I'm telling you, just because people are calling stuff doesn't mean jack all. Like, I used to make fun, like, that was Hottie's biggest problem, like in 2021, season before last, is like people were calling, right? But Hottie didn't have a good awareness of like where his team is positioned. So he would feed a lot. He would go in at poor timings. So yeah. I mean, it's a gamble, you know. Your team wasn't there to help you, but you saw an opportunity, you went for it. Not the end of the world. And now, like, you need awareness, right? You know. So you got a real tough problem. I don't think I'm gonna jump here if I'm you. Even though my Hans is walking forward, If this Ryan pushes him really hard, then maybe I jump. But I'm looking at the majority of my team, and I'm like, I think I need to kind of like play back a little bit, right? So. Good. What do you think?
Not very good.
Yeah, not very good. It's too easy for them to just avoid your sniper and Ana LOS. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like, look at this Reinhardt. It's just too easy for him to dodge. It's too easy for their Echo to just drop out of on Ashe LOS. And your comp just... you don't even have, like, a Lucio Tracer comp where they can, like, kind of chase with you. They're kind of static. You know, they want to hold these high ground off angles, and then you go and fight for space over here. Your team is like, I don't care if they're over here. They have to walk through the choke. That's when we need to go. Because, like, again, it's like they're all gonna focus you. You're gonna get your bubble forced. I mean, this is okay. Like, we're making, you know, lemonade out of lemons here. But, like, again, like, what follow up is there gonna be for this Primal Rage? Like, I honestly don't know. Maybe your Hanzo like gets a shot, but I would be.
I don't know why they nanoed this in there.
Dude, did you see her nano in Symmetra when you went on the Hanzo earlier? Yeah.
They have the most questionable nanos.
Yeah. This is really good though, because like, but this should have been a reaction. Like, okay, let me show you. Now, you know, Ryan's naded, maybe Echoes diving your Ashe. This would have almost been like a reactionary dive where you could have gone in hard at a perfect time, like now. You know what I'm saying? Primal mechanics are good. Main tank awareness.
I'm blind.
You're good. Well, the problem is the Echo wasn't even on your screen. You're being shot. You're like, where? Oh, that hero flies. All right. But yeah, again, like super patient here. Just super patient. Do not let that Ryan pin in on you. Patience. Can your team follow up off of this?
I mean, kinda, because they'll force their BAP to like look at the Zen.
And then what's gonna happen elsewhere?
The Ryan and Sim will take a lot of damage from Hanzo
and heck, even this right here, this Echo is like actually kind of committed. This Echo is kind of naked right now. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to get heal support, so either she's going to turn and duel your DPS with their heal support and probably die, or she's going to peel back on you and then get shot in the butt cheeks by your Hanzo. You know what I'm saying? So like this is a good time. This is exactly what we talked about when we were like talking about like the reactionary or like setting tempo with a jump, but you're setting tempo as a response to what the enemy team or what your team is doing. This makes total sense. This actually is a perfect jump, right? Perfect jump. I mean, look at how much cleave you're getting here. Look at how much. Look, you forced Lamp, Zen to look at you, all the Echo cooldowns, Zen pocket. If your team can't kill or peel off this Symmetra Ryan, GG's go next. You know what I'm saying? I mean, brilliant. And you force strats. Brilliant. How's your back doing? I mean, really, you deadlifted this fight. Unfortunate. It's like can't see 9, you know. It's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Phenomenal fight. Like really, truly phenomenal fight from you. Timing was perfect. Target priority was perfect. I mean, mechanically, always can be a little bit cleaner here and there. But you absolutely deadlifted this fight. Do you understand what I'm talking about when it comes to the fight? Okay, that's going to be the big one. Let's look at a little bit more. Let's maybe watch one more fight here. Any questions so far?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you said you used Ryan to break choke. So big thing is just like having that awareness of like knowing where your team is set up and where you guys are going to fight. Like, and again, it's going to be a periphery. It's not just going to be one specific spot. It's going to be like, this is the general area, like where if an enemy crosses this line, or if we want to cross this line, this is when I go. And that's going to serve you really, really, really well. Even in scrims, like right now. What do you think?
Not very good. Well, I mean, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It could be better, but it's also going to be hard for you guys to even walk out of the choke. So, like, maybe it's okay. I think optimally you probably wait a fat second or so. You know what I'm saying? Let him just get just a little bit out, and then you guarantee get follow-up off of this dive, either from there or on the Rhine, or you definitely make sure that your team gets high ground, right? So I think a little early, but certainly not the worst thing in the world. Because if this Rhine's going to hard peel you like that, do you see what has happened in the meantime?
Yeah, we got a lot of space.
You got a lot of space, right? Because you gotta also think about like self-preservation. If you go too early, it just means 5v1, which means that you're gonna die a lot more than you should. So yeah, that was reasonable. Still could be better though. And again, here is now a good time.
I mean, it's decent.
It's decent. It's not perfect. Maybe waiting just a few more seconds for them to try and overextend to push off of the pick. You know. And the other thing too is if you time things perfectly. The other thing that often ends up happening is you make better dive decisions because you get a slightly more information than you would have had otherwise. So like, let's look at this again and let's make you wait 1 second before you jump. So you jump. When do you jump? Okay, so you're about to jump right now. Okay, so let's just sit right where you're at and wait 1 second. 147, 46, bam. Do you see? What do you see in your screen?
A Ryan, a Sim, and an Echo.
Right. So looking at the information that you would have had right before you jumped, who do you jump right now?
Probably just like not use jump, but just dropping their Echo a little bit.
Sure. Okay. What else do you see in your screen? Do you see the Symmetra's HP?
Yeah, she's antied.
She's antied, right? So now all of a sudden I'm wondering if this BAP jump is even the best jump for you to be doing right now.
Yeah.
Because you had that little extra second, and so the battlefield changed, so your jump decision would have changed slightly as well.
And there's Zenith coming back from spawn right now.
And what actually ends up happening, I actually feel like this, I'm curious to see how this goes over here. A little bit of hindsight.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? So you might kill the BAP here, but in hindsight, the Symmetra was a better jump. And the only way for you to have known that would have been to time your jump better so that you would have better information. You kind of see what I'm saying? So, like, you do fine work here. You know, like, you're going to get the BAP, you force shift, you force Harmony Orb, the Zenyatta's focusing your zoning backline. He actually jumps out, but this would have been a lot more important.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm pointing that out is because, obviously, this is the reason why that's important is timing and awareness and the line. And you will be able to make better decisions because of better timing. So then now, like, I would even, like, right now, it's like, okay, you're just taking space. If you get a chance now, you need to turn your camera. You need to look. Okay. You see where they're at. You see where we're at. Should you go now? Or as soon as you get jump? Is this good right now?
I mean...
Looks okay, right?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Looks okay. I mean, Echo's also with you as well, so it's not bad. And there you go. Are we in? Are we in? Are we in? Are we in? Surely. Like even just a quick check. Okay, I see Symmetra, or I see my Bastion here. I see my Mercy up here. This is fine.
What a window.
I really like our right clicks, so you still need to practice like the mechanics of them, but it seems like you're way more consistent at using them. Again, see, this is the thing. This is why it's so important. Even mid-fight, this jump only makes sense if your guys are pushing with you. And you can see here, they're kind of pushing. Bastion's on the flank, so that ends up working out nicely. Nice mechanics. There you go. But I don't know if that was an accident, you know, or lucky that you knew the Bastion was song or what. So, what needs to be practiced here? You know what, actually, this goes back to your Kiriko thing on Esperanza, where they were like just chilling on the wall. Remember that? You didn't know that, and you went in anyway. That's what we need to practice, I think. So how would you describe that skill? How would you describe that skill in terms of like improving it?
I mean, sometimes just like wait a second, like find out where people are, find out where my teammates are, and find out where my enemies are. And where best to dive.
Focus on timing when your team can follow up, right? And we obviously, I mean, you're not gold, you know that they don't have to follow up on the same target, right? And they can be on totally different targets. It doesn't matter, but something has to be there. And I think like anytime you feel like you're 1v5ing, it should be a red flag about how you were setting up or your awareness of their positioning. Anything else? Because that was the major theme of your play specifically, but is there anything else that stood out to you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think your right clicks just need more practice, but I really like what you're doing with them. Maybe the Diva thing. I don't know. I would just keep an eye on like that matchup and like locking down one target with Primal maybe. But that was, it's hard for me to say that after watching that happen with one team fight. It's not exactly a very large sample size. So okay.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, I just thought of something. Keep up the good work with planning. Don't worry about dips mid-fight comms if you are thinking, remember? Also, training schedule, structure with ranked, practice, experiment with what you enjoy. But also, and mental, get ready for the educational L's. Don't be too hard on yourself. Because if you were to imagine if you were like a plat player and you were super hard on yourself, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you would not have made it as far as you are now if you were too hard on yourself, you know? Okay. No questions?
One question. Okay,
Sure.
so do you think it's worth like me learning Sigma because like we play Sigma on one map? We play Sigma on Circle Royale.
Shocker.
You have to.
And wait,
you basically have to.
So you want to like learn Sigma or practice Sigma?
I mean, I feel like I'm like forced to, I guess.
I would play. What I would do is I'd play Sigma every time you play Circuit and Ranked, if you can.
Yeah. I usually just try and force Monkey.
Well, the problem. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're playing Sigma and Scrims on Circuit Royale, then you need to be playing Sigma on Circuit Royale and Ranked.
Yeah.
Just because you don't need a lot of practice on the hero, but you might as well. Like to me, it's like everything should be revolving around your performance in the team environment and making yourself be as good of a player with that. So then, if you play Sigma and Scrims, play Sigma and Ranked. It doesn't have to be like every map. It can be just only on that map, but yeah, you probably should. Because you need the reps. Even if it's just a tiny bit of mechanical practice or you like figure out a good angle that you can hold that works, then you probably need the reps. Now, if that changes and you guys can play another comp, then get the heck off of Sigma unranked. It's fast. Even if you troll every single Circuit Royale because your team wants to play snipers, then but yeah, absolutely. No other questions?
I think I got one more.
Sure.
So I don't know really how to ask. It's like, how do you like, I don't know, like carry when you have like bad teammates or like not as good teammates?
You do, like in ranked?
No, not in ranked, like team play. Because like for like my high school team. So I wanna win next year.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's high school teams, you know. You're gonna have like you're gonna have gold players, you know. It's just, what I would do is lead by example. Don't be like toxic butthole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
I'm never toxic. I remember on finals. Oh my god, so boomed. I'm still boomed from it. I booped off 2 on Roadhog.
Yeah.
I literally booped off the nanoed Ryan in the Ana, and we still lose the fight. It was literally final fight. Ilios 99-99, round 3.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Keep yourself centered focus, you know, on what you need to be doing better. Because unfortunately, you're not the Chicago Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not like. You're not like, okay, if I'm pushing my teammates to be better, like surely it'll work. Because like I guarantee you, half those players are just like chilling. You know what I'm saying? They're not professionals. They just want to have a good time. So like. There's not a lot of benefit for like you want it to be in a fun environment, so just focus on yourself, focus on enjoying the process as much as you can, and treat it as like honestly like anytime something bad happens or a bad circumstance or a bad environment, especially if it's temporary, treat it like a training environment for your patients. You know, everything comes back to like how can I use this situation that I'm in? How can I not necessarily pretend that it's a good situation, but how can I be honest and accept that it's just kind of a negative, sucky situation, but I'm going to get something out of it. Whether that's I'm going to learn how to shot call, right? Because nobody else knows anything about Overwatch. Or I'm going to learn how to, quiet the voices, and focus on my own gameplay, even though I'm like killing 6 per fight and we're still losing. You know what I'm saying? That's a useful skill to have, even if you do move on to like an actually like legitimate collegiate situation, right? That skill is still worth it. So don't be selfish by focusing on what can I get out of this.
Yeah.
And I know that's why you asked me, what can I get out of this? And I'm telling you, that's kind of on you to decide, whether that's the patience, whether that's the better leadership from your end, better shot calling, better fight planning, more responsibility here and there, or just, again, learning how to take L's where it's not your fault, because that's hard to do. It's really, really hard to do, especially when you feel like you're putting in a lot of work and the other guys just aren't. But also, you can't really blame them for it, because they just aren't as serious about it as you are. So it's like,
yeah,
how are you going to be able to deal with that situation? Welcome to life, mate. This is the crappy adult stuff that's like now on your plate. And it's just as bad as a teenager as it is with an adult. It's just as bad. It's not like, oh, when you're adult, like, nah, you're dealing with it right now. So welcome to the club.
I just want to win the finals next year.
I know.
It'll look good, and I still just want to win.
I know, and I know it will look good, but there's always going to be that one thing that you're pursuing, and you're going to fall short the majority of the time. That's just how it's going to have to be. So don't let that discourage you from pursuing it, but also don't let it discourage you if you don't reach it again. You did get to the finals. That's pretty good. You are a GM2, GM3, whatever tank. That's really, really good. What's next? Yeah. I mean, it's just the statistics, right? You're going to lose and fail at most things you pursue. Look at the freaking NFL. You have like less than a 4% chance of winning the league, every year. It's like one team wins. Only one team wins. Everybody else loses. So, you're going to have to get used to losing a whole lot. But that makes when you do win a whole lot sweeter. And it also it forces you to actually enjoy the process as much as you can too. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. Any questions besides that? That's a tough one.
I don't think so. I think that's it.
All right. Well, keep in touch. And then also, the replay code rule from last time. You didn't take me up on it last time, but feel free to use it this time. And just shoot me a replay code with a few timestamps, and I'll give you some follow up. But it could be Scrim VOD as well. Yeah. All right, mate. Maybe it's Sigma and Circuit Royale.
My Sigma's so bad. So it's sometimes really good, but it's sometimes really bad.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you don't play a hero a lot. You have like some of your other mechanics from other heroes that like kind of carry over, but then sometimes it's not like autopilotable yet because you're not very good at the hero. So then sometimes you just like you crap the bed real bad.
I just feel really bad that I suck at Sigma. It's like last scrim we played Circuit Royale, and I feel like my Widowmaker was killing like 4 every fight, and I'm like, we just kept losing because their Sigma was just pressing W, and I was just dying.
So you're saying it's like the high school finals thing, but reversed.
Yes, exactly.
I told you, that kind of stuff never goes away. You're either on the receiving end or delivering it, one or the other. All right, mate.